Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Tonight I'm off on a solo wild camp solely to test out my 100% complete Onewind Outdoors hammock kit. So far I'm liking the kit. And just a review, if you didn't see the other video, the unboxing video from Onewind Outdoors, what you see here is the tarp, the hammock tarp. I have a 11-foot hammock with built-in bug net. It has an internal ridge line inside the hammock, very similar to the Hennessy design. Underneath, I have a basic summer weight underquilt. Inside, I have a basic summer weight top quilt. However, the top quilt actually turns into an insulated poncho, so you can wear that in the cool mornings or the cool evenings before you go to bed. And underneath the hammock is a gear hammock. You can sling right underneath there. Tonight will be the first time I actually really use it overnight, so I'm going to try to take off my boots, put my boots inside, and then take them out in the morning. And we'll see if we dump everything else out of it and how easy that is to do. On the inside of the hammock, there are two different types of storage, one of which is a single draw cord opening bag that attaches to prusik knots and suspends on the ridge line. I also have what is called a peak gear hammock. It's a little teeny tiny cutesy little hammock. It's elasticized and stuff, but it goes in the peak of the hammock on that ridge line that's internal, and that's where you put your cell phone, your keys, and things like that. On the hammock straps, there are hammock sleeves. There are two that go in together. I'm still trying to get it to where it makes sense to me because it's two pieces that overlap, but I'll get it in time, I'm certain. And there's also the hammock storage bag up there that has a double opening draw cord with cord locks on either side that I've been pulling up into the middle section and then running the hammock sleeves over top of them. But I got a bunch of other stuff too, but that is the kit right there that I'm putting through its paces. And tonight's going to be the first night I see how everything works on the overnighter. But so far, everything looks like it's made well. And it's fairly easy and straightforward to set everything up. But we're going to see how it does. Also, tonight I'm going to be field testing my perlite alcohol stove. I'm going to prepare a freeze-dried meal. And we'll see how that does in the field. In the bushcraft laboratory, it performed wonderfully, and it's super convenient. If you haven't seen that video yet, you might want to check it out, but pique your interest, stick around, and I'll be making supper here in a little bit, and you'll be able to see it in action. Folks, this area is so beautiful that I am blessed to camp in. I was looking around and I was thinking, man, I wish there was some way I could better depict the scenery to everyone. And I started playing with the camera on the tripod. Well, I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to give you a moving panoramic of where I'm camping today. It takes about a minute, but I think it looks pretty cool. So, what do you think of my surroundings? Yes, I agree. I am very blessed. This is a very beautiful place. I was sitting in the chair, just relaxing for a few minutes. I was looking at the tarp. And tarps have multiple configurations. And for the summer months, you really want to have a lot of airflow through your tent. And that's one of the reasons I have it slung pretty high, to allow that airflow to come through. And the way it's configured now, it's not exactly storm resistant, because if it's coming straight down, that's fine. But if it's coming at an angle, the wind's blowing the rain through, these angled areas are going to permit a lot of that rain to get in. And I was puzzling over this for just a moment, because I had planned on just putting a guy line on the corner here and running that out and having a pre-positioned stake to stake those down, and just to give more protection from the rain. I got an idea, see? Check this out. I take the two ends with the bungees. I put a stake down here, just one on each side, so that's half the amount of tent stakes I would have been using to stake it out into a full rectangle like this. So now I have angled protection on all four sides, and there's only a gap about like this at the peak. Everything's angled in, so any of the blowing rain is going to hit this, which is closer together up here, and run down toward the inside. And I don't know, I think that is a much better solution than the one I originally come up with. But we are supposed to get some rain tonight, so there's a good possibility I'm going to put this idea to the test. It's about 7:30, and we'll probably start losing light here pretty soon, so I figure I better make some supper. I'm going to be using the little Altoid 10 perlite stove I made, and this works pretty dang well, and I bet we'll have that water boiling within about 4 minutes. Tonight I'm going to be enjoying some Schwartz Foods beef stroganoff. I went ahead and opened up the meal and divided it in half and put half of it in my own Mylar bag, and that way I can actually really truly enjoy it without overstuffing myself, because their servings are absolutely huge. And I got enough water there for half. And set this off to the side in case you haven't seen my video on the perlite stove. This is it. This is 2 tablespoons of perlite, and you add enough alcohol to just saturate it. And I can't, I'm dumbfounded by how well this works. And with all my tests I've done, I've always left the lid off. But, you know, with this on here, it's probably going to come to a boil in probably about 3 minutes or less. But we'll see. Oh yeah, that's a good rolling boil. Just less than 3 minutes. Now it's time for some fine cuisine. The great thing about that little perlite stove, 2 tablespoons of perlite, 2 tablespoons of denatured alcohol, methylated spirits, and you have a burn time a little over, just right around 4 minutes, just a little bit over, tiny little bit over, and you get a perfect boil at right up to about 2 cups. And mine was a little less than that because I only had half the menu. But wow, I'm telling you, I think that I will probably be using that little stove exclusively throughout these summer months. Super lightweight, and I already tested it. And in the USGI issue canteen pouch, there's 2 pockets on it, one of which is the perfect size for an Altoid tin, and the other of which I'm going to find a little flask, a little rectangular flat bottle that I can use for my alcohol to put in the other one. And then underneath the stove I can go ahead and put well, not underneath the stove, but underneath the canteen, I can put one of the USGI canteen cups and a USGI issue stove. It'll be a perfect little travel kit. Gonna let this sit and then I'll get to it. All right, folks, it's time to dig in. This has been a long day, and this is really going to hit the spot. This will be my first time trying Schwartz Foods beef stroganoff. That is good. Wow. If you went to a relative's house and they made beef stroganoff on a stove and they served it to you at the dinner table, that's what this tastes like. Wow. Man, I can't get over the quality of their food. Man. Well, I'm going to enjoy this moment by myself. If there's light left or I figure out a way to do lighting, I'll be back. Now that was some solid chow. That was fantastic. And since I split it in half, I'm not overly full, but I am ultimately satisfied. That's a very good thing. Now, when you're off in the woods by yourself and you have the chance to feel the forest, there's a relaxation that comes with that is like none other. And because we live the lives we live, a lot of the things from the outside is still with us. And this is an opportunity in which we can make sense of those things, and if necessary, purge those things. And while I was eating, a couple things came to mind. One of which, recently I received a comment on one of my review videos, and I have a lot of those. And there was a question as to my personal integrity as to compensation. And when I first saw the comment, I was affronted. I was. And it bothered me. However, the more I thought about it, the questions that were in the comment, I decided I would just answer those comments just like I would any other. And putting my anger aside, being objective, and just being honest, I replied to the comment. I very quickly received a reply. And it was an apology. However, it was the starting point of a respectful conversation. And I do believe that because I replied to the comment the way that I did, that this person will be much more of the Boondockery family now than he ever possibly could have had I responded to it in anger. And I was blessed with the opportunity to be able to receive that comment and to reply to it. It was an interesting experience, and it all turned out great. And that was one of the things. And the other thing I was thinking about was that if you've watched my videos, you know I've had a tremendous number of challenges in my life as of late. And it's been very, very difficult to meet these challenges and to work toward conquering them. And the number one source of my ability to do that is God. The number two ability for me to do what I need to do as a man, as a head of my household, is my wife. She has been amazing. Through all of this, she has worked so hard and done so much. And last night, we were having a conversation. This is like, I really need to get to the woods to test this hammock kit out. And she looked at me and she says, yes, you might need to do that for your channel, and I want you to. But you need to do that for you as well. That is a tremendous friend that will do something like that. And I was thinking about that type of relationship with people. And if you have a significant other in your life and they afford you the privilege of being and to experiencing life as your passions, drive you, and be willing to share those experiences with you through your recollections and your conversations when it's done, that's a tremendous blessing. And if you have a significant other like that, please don't ever take that for granted. You have to treasure that. And you need to let them know how much they mean to you and how important they are to you. We get wrapped up in all kinds of stuff in our lives, and we become the center of our own universes sometimes because of our problems, our conflicts, our challenges, our personal inadequacies. But if you have a friend and a significant other that you can lay it all out on the table and not have judgment, but have support, that's incredible, especially in this day and age. But I know this might seem a little out of place for a bushcrafting video or wild camping video, but really, isn't this what we do when we go bushcrafting, when we go wild camping? We take this time to unwind. We take this opportunity to connect with nature, reflection upon that outside world. And because of this world, it's a lot easier to make sense of it or to just let it go. All I know is I am so blessed in so many ways. And even the things that seem negative sometimes are a blessing. It's all what we choose to do with it that turns it into a curse, or we accept it as a blessing. I'm just going to go ahead and mellow out and enjoy the evening. Watch the sunset through the trees. And count my blessings. Because even though I've got a lot on my plate, that plate could be full and overflowing, but it is absolutely nothing compared to my vat of blessings. All right, folks, time to call it a night. Let's see if we can get these boots into the gear loft hammock here without them falling out and without me falling out of the hammock. The whole me falling out of the hammock thing is an important thing to me. Okay, there's one. Well, that seems to be doing okay. And there's two. My feet have not touched the ground. And my boots are still in there. All right, let's see if we can get in here. Oh, yes, this is a living large. Okay, folks, I'm in the hammock. Everything's going great. I have all of my pocket litter up in the little peak hammock there. My keys, my cell phone, all that good stuff, my glasses, and the little other pouch that came with the hammock is a single opening, and you can attach it to the ridge line that has my sidearm in it, and it's right exactly where I can get it. It's out of my way, and but very accessible, and I'm very comfortable, and if all goes well, I have a very good night's sleep, and I'll see you in the morning. Good night. God bless. Good morning. It is 6:15, and been up for a little while. I was sleeping perfectly sound and was awakened by an explosion of coyote yelps. And of course, they'd be going on for a little while, so I'm fumbling around trying to get my GoPro so I can record the sound if nothing else. And literally as soon as I pushed record, boop, silence. All I heard was birds. And you can hear those right now. One thing was really interesting is once, I was attuned to, okay, I'm awake now. The coyotes were going. The birds seemed like they were a lot louder than they are right now. It's sort of like they were reacting to them. I don't recall that, but then again, I was half asleep. It could be completely in my imagination. Well, as you can see, I am wearing my Onewind top quilt. As like a poncho liner. And there's a little bit of chill in there. I would estimate it's probably about 50, 52, somewhere around there. So just a little bit of chill in the air. And so I've been wearing this around camp while I was making my coffee. And it's not cold at all. So I'm wearing the front loose, and it provides just enough insulation to take that nip away, and it's pretty good. Did well with the hammock last night. Getting in, no problem whatsoever. Taking my boots off, storing them in there. Middle of the night, nature called. No problem getting my boots out, going to take care of business. Getting in and out with that zipper, no snags, no issues there. The hammock's very comfortable. One mishap did occur. The internal ridge line in the hammock is like one of those whoopee slings or whoopee cords. And this is the first whoopee anything that I've had associated to bushcraft equipment. And it loosened in the middle of the night. And so I got to learn a little bit more about the whoopee fangs, and to make certain that I can fix that without actually having to see it. So as a result, everything that was on the ridge line was sagging down a little bit, which didn't bother me at all. I still slept perfectly fine. And other than that, I think everything is working great. I love the gear hammock underneath, as all hammocks do. Overnight, as I was sleeping in it, it stretched and sagged a little bit with the straps, but there was still plenty of room for me to be able to access the little gear hammock underneath. So she's looking pretty good, yes. Well, I think as far as a first night with this hammock set up, I'm fairly pleased. A couple things I need to work on a little bit with it, and throughout the next week or so, I'll have it out a few more times and see what I can do about figuring some of the things out. The internal ridge line is something I need to figure out as to how to make certain that it doesn't loosen. as well as being able to use my tarp sleeve with the Ridgeline reel, because looking at it when I was setting it up, I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I think that the tarp sleeve will definitely be something I'm going to have a traditional Ridgeline to work with in order to get that on. And the Ridgeline would have to be not permanently attached, but attached to the tarp while it's in storage. And the way that the Ridgeline reel is designed, it's not practical. I don't even know if it's possible or not. But when I tear things down today, I'm going to go through and look at a couple of the items, and if I do, I'll go ahead and do a quick little shot on that and let you know as I'm packing things up. And, but right now, I'm going to finish my breakfast, and if nothing else, I'll bring you back for a sign-off. Well, the first thing I discovered during teardown is that the tarp is made of sil nylon. I own nothing made of sil nylon. This stuff is so slippery. I did the best I could with folding it and rolling it, but eventually it just, as I was putting it in the pouch, it just unassembled itself. And so it just wound up getting shoved in here. If any of you have any tricks or tips on how to roll, or even if that's a possibility, sil nylon, please let me know. I figured out why my internal ridge line sagged. I had this little gear hammock, this peak loft up over top of this bead where the adjusters for the whoopee line is, and as a result it loosened up, and significantly. And it wasn't an issue of the weight, it was an issue of this being on the back side of it, pulling this apart. Because this thing, and I know very little about this at all. I've never used one prior to this. It looks like it functions exactly the same way as one of those children's toys that we used to call Chinese finger traps. And when you push your fingers in and they're loose, they're fine. If you try to pull them apart, they're stuck. You have to carefully loosen one side up and it comes out. That's the way this is working. So in the future, I'll make certain that I'll make the peak, the head side of my hammock, on the opposite side of the adjusters. And we'll see if it makes any difference. I want to show you the two-piece hammock sleeve. And the sleeves are identical. One sleeve just simply overlaps with the other. In the center, you cinch them off. I had a very peculiar thing happen, and I can't really figure it out. We were forecasted a possibility for rain last night. It did not rain. When I was pulling my sleeve over the hammock, all of a sudden water poured out of it. The bottom portion of this thing was absolutely filled with water. And I'm thinking, it's like, that's crazy. Maybe it could have been sap of some type. But I'm looking at the tree where the tree straps are attached, and nothing's wet. The tree strap, where it was inside the sleeve, was soaked, but there was probably about a cup or a cup and a half of water that emptied out of it. That's weird. I can't figure that out. But I have figured out the two-piece hammock sleeve, and I have the bag that the hammock originally came in, and I'm probably going to go ahead and just put the tree straps in it, and when I roll this up, put it in the pack, I'm just going to tie that to the buckles of the hammock, and that way everything will be together. I'm still not too sure how I feel about the ridgeline spool. I don't know. I'll play with it some more before I make my mind up, but I mean, this is sort of gimmicky, and tying a ridgeline for me now, I can do it in the dark without seeing anything. It's second nature now. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I do know that trying to slide prusik knots made of Dyneema on a ridgeline, which is made of Dyneema, the same diameter, is difficult. It creates a lot of friction, and it takes a good little bit of time getting it from that tree all the way over to that tree. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see. Overall, I was pretty pleased with the Onewind Outdoors hammock setup I assembled. A couple little hiccups, but for the most part, I've got them figured out, and I think I'm going to enjoy using this little summer kit. Now, I'm still clueless as to how all that water got inside my hammock sleeve, but I guess some mysteries may never be solved. Well, folks, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.